Hi everybody, my name is Alex Kobel-Frakes and I am the co-founder from The Agenda Period. It looks like it's only on this one today, so we'll kind of ignore that screen. So just go right here. So a little bit about me. I am a health coach. I actually came here last year and pitched about my other business, Fully Aligned Coaching. And so this is the second business that I'm building. Along the way of building my health coaching practice, I really started to pay attention to my own body, my own cycles, and really started to get curious about what was going on. And because of what I learned, I decided to create something new. So as I was building my business, I started to notice that when different activities of the month, for example, my sales calls, happened to line up with my ovulation, I had a higher conversion rate. Or when I would do my accounting and administrative work during the luteal phase on accident, I would have an easier time getting through those numbers. I don't like numbers. I am not an accountant. I hate that kind of stuff. I think it's very tedious. But weirdly, I felt easier during the energy of my luteal phase, which is right before menstruation. And so I just got really curious. I like numbers. I like data. I started to kind of see some patterns that were emerging. And so I was in a meditation, and the idea came to me to have an agenda, like a beautiful hard copy planner that showed me how to link up my business tasks for the phase of the month that I was in my cycle. And when I went, it didn't exist. I couldn't find it on Google, on Amazon, and they say that necessity is the mother of invention, so I decided, I guess I'll make it. I had no experience with design, creating a product, or anything of that nature, but I thought, you know what, why not? Let's give it a try. So I decided to create the Agenda Period. So this is my co-founder. Her name is Sunny Singh. So a little bit about us. We went through the same coaching school, and I had met her at several events, and she did fertility coaching. And she knew a lot about the cycles, a lot about women's bodies already, some of that deep, in-depth knowledge that I didn't have. And so I knew that this project was going to be a little big for me to carry by myself, so I invited her to come on board, and she did. So we started talking about this idea. This idea came to me last July. We started talking about it actually January of this year, and we haven't actually started working on it until May, and it's really exploded since then. So a little bit about the process. We did a beta test, so we actually had other women come on board. We found a designer who is actually right here in the audience today. So Yasmin did all of our beautiful design work, all of the colors, the logos, everything. And all of these things kind of came together very, very quickly to create the agenda. So what we do is we help business women grow their businesses, increase sales, and feel in flow. So that is really the heart of what we do with this project. So, high level, the problem. Often women are not taking into account their cycles when they plan their lives and businesses. So we may be expected to show up the same every single day of the month, even though our bodies are biologically not in alignment with that. So we can feel like we're on a roller coaster, we can feel drained, we can feel really emotional or less productive, and really feel inhibited. And often, a lot of the women that we spoke to felt a lot of guilt and shame because they expected themselves to show up in a certain way, and they just weren't able to do that based on maybe they were on their period and they felt like they had this pressure to show up and act in a certain way, even though it was really out of alignment with their bodies. And so we just remove that, right? We remove that by really help women maximize their potential in work and business. So we break it down into the 4 phases. We teach women about the 4 phases because a lot of the women we talked to weren't even really sure of the 4 specific phases. They kind of knew that there was changes that were going on, but necessarily didn't even have the language for it, which is something we probably should have learned, instead of algebra. I don't know. It seems a little important, right? So we start off by teaching about the phases. We break it down for the business tasks that really align with each of the 4 phases of the cycle. And then we show them how they can add in self-care. We know that you're not going to always be able to bend the world to your menstrual cycle, unfortunately. We're working on that, but it just won't happen yet. And so when there is a mismatch where you may be called to do something energetically that's not aligned with where you're at in your cycle, we show women how to add in additional self-care. And really even just on a high level, knowing that you're going through that makes it easier to plan for it. So if you are, last week, I was in the luteal phase and having to go to networking and meet with people. And during the luteal phase, we often want to be introverted or kind of have a more inward energy. But for me, even just knowing that this kind of dichotomy was going on allowed me to meet those events with much more ease, right? So just the awareness was a huge piece of it. And then we also have reflection pages and insights so that they can start to see their unique patterns that happen month by month, and they kind of have, again, those red flags. They know what to look for. They've got that awareness piece. And then we also include the standard planner pages, like the weekly pages, the monthly pages, and quarterly goals, because this really is aimed at people in business, right? So we show them a quarterly review as well as a quarterly set for the next 3 months to come. So women using our system are able to predict their mood swings and their energy levels. They're having more focus. They're feeling less pressure to do tasks when they know they're not going to be productive. And they're also to see the positive aspects of each part of their cycle. And they're able to see their own unique patterns. So a big problem that is causing a lot of menstrual pain, quite honestly, is the feeling that it's the messages that we receive, that it's gross or wrong or bad, or that women are moody and unpredictable. I was actually just watching a John Oliver piece yesterday about discrimination in the medical field and bias around how people take women's problems less seriously because they're women, and partly it's because they say women are hormonal and erratic. It's actually not true. We're actually very cyclical, and so when we know that and we can step into that and we can really feel emboldened by that, it allows us to see the unique gifts instead of feeling like we're just being bitchy, right? We can actually see, wow, there's a gift here for me in this phase. And this kind of empowerment leads to embodied female leadership and a complete change in the way that we see ourselves. And that's pretty powerful. I've actually been working with private clients on this work, and women in their 30s and 40s have told me they are excited for the first time in their lives to have their period. And since women on average spend 3,200 days menstruating, it's about time we get excited about it, because it takes up a pretty significant chunk of our lives. So our target demographic really is women in business, maybe at that executive level or the entrepreneur, and when we have to kind of niche down, we're looking at the 28 to 35-year-olds who are feeling burnout, drained, and maybe kind of already tuned on to the idea that these cycles are existing and are happening. And specifically right now, we're looking at health coaches. Sunny and I know a lot of health coaches, and they're a little holistically minded already, and they're working with a lot of clients, right? So it's a great partnership for them, as well as for the clients and women that they're working with. And so we know that this is going to really scale, has a huge scalability. The market potential is huge, as in over half of the world menstruates, but really this is kind of where we're starting from, and we've got many ideas for growth and expansion moving forward. So here's a little bit of a high level of what we have people do. So this is one of the calendar pages. So they would put all of their to-dos here, and then they would have the task by phase, and then where they have control, they would start plugging in where the pieces felt best in alignment. So for example, there is some retreat prep during the menstruation, right? So it's maybe kind of a more relaxing, calming down period, and even creative time, but kind of an inward work that you can do. So that's why we have it there, versus we look at the follicular phase, we've got some networking, we're creating an offer, right? So maybe actually inviting people to work with you. So you can kind of see on a high level, this is some of the ways that we have people set it up. But ultimately, we encourage every woman to use her own body as a guide and really listen to what her body is telling her and use that as the ultimate guidepost. So this is a little bit of a high level. So we've got like the sample page in the agenda, and then we've got month pages that they can start creating their own. So that's kind of what the project is looking like right now. We're creating this physical project, but we've got a big long-term goal as well as partnerships. So I have been down the rabbit hole. I mean, I did not even know all of the things and organizations that existed around menstruation, and also I really didn't have a clear understanding before I started this project of the inequity that exists globally around menstrual hygiene and access to products that women need to safely deal with their period. So we're asking women in the United States primarily right now to get empowered around their cycle, but it's hard to reach a place of empowerment if you don't even have the bare necessities, right? So one of our first partnerships that we're really excited about is the PAD Project. They released a documentary, if you've seen it on Netflix, talking about women in India and some of the struggles that were faced over there. And so we're going to be a corporate sponsor of them. We're going to be donating 10% of our profits to this organization, which we're really proud about, because we want to help end period inequity that is facing the global community, right? And so the tagline, a period should end a sentence, not a girl's education. Working together to end period poverty. Because many women around the world lose access to education when they start their period, and that's completely unacceptable. we know when women are educated, they uplift their communities. And so this is a really hard blow for the world when, because of something that's such a natural process, women are taken out of that educational opportunity. We don't think it's acceptable, and we want to really call everyone to attention and like hold a high standard that we can help fix this problem, right? Through empowerment here and having those ripple out across the world. So this is kind of where we're starting. We're excited to work with other people in the future. But that's just kind of as a high level, and truly the goal of the Agenda Period is to work with other people to end period inequality globally. So it's kind of a moon shoot, but we know we'll start here and then we'll be working towards that. So currently, well, it's actually a little bit updated, but currently we've been working on a Kickstarter to really bring this initial product to print. The number's a little bit updated this morning. We've had some more really awesome backers. We're actually at 80% funded now, the last time I checked before this presentation. And we've got 7 days left of the campaign. Doing the Kickstarter route is allowing us to really keep that control and being able to have the first creative say over what we're doing with this product. So this initial amount of money that we're raising through the Kickstarter is going to allow us to print the initial 500 copies of the agenda, as well as to do the trademarking. So this is kind of where we're at right now, is looking for some additional support for the Kickstarter so that we can really go on to do the next stages that we want to do in terms of empowerment. So that is my presentation, and I'll be really happy to take questions now. Yep.
How do female entrepreneurs get involved with your product?
Yeah, so a great way right now would be to back the Kickstarter. They would be able to buy the product. We will have them printed by the 1st of October-ish, right around in there. We've already got the work set up. We have our printer picked. We just are waiting for the final Kickstarter to come through, which will happen next week. So doing a pre-order through the Kickstarter will be the fastest way to get a copy. And then after that, we will be creating ways to buy them online. We have to figure out distribution channels and things like that. So if anyone, that's what I'm saying for the e-commerce workshop tonight. So if anyone has got some information on that, that would be helpful. But Kickstarter would be the first way to get your hands on it. Thank you. Yeah.
Can you talk about the feedback that you've gotten from the beta group thus far?
Yeah, the betas are loving it. Right? I think a lot of them are surprised. There's a few of them in the room. I won't call you out. If you feel like giving any feedback as a beta tester, you can. But they've found that just the awareness has been really good. Releasing of the guilt and shame has been a huge one. Just like knowing, I don't really feel like doing that right now, and I don't have to push myself because I know the follicular energy is coming, and I will be very productive if I give myself the chance to rest. So just the high level awareness has been huge for people using the product so far. And for me, like I said, I know it's changed my business. If someone asks me to do something, I pull out my planner and I look at the date, oh, that's not a great day for me. I'm saying, actually, no, I'm not gonna do it on that date. How about, and then I propose a new date that I know will feel better for me. So when we have the control of our own schedule, it's really nice to be able to just advocate for ourselves in that way and not get pushed to do things that don't feel in alignment.
I'll say too, obviously I'm biased because I'm the designer, but I also seeing, it's not just also the low points so much as it's the high points as well. Like when I'm in my follicular phase, which happens just after the menstruation, I am able to have conversations and feel more present and feel more like I'm engaging with the person I'm having conversations with. And it really helps my clients feel like I'm there and more trustworthy than when I'm on those like lower energy phases and I'm like, I actually don't really want to talk much. And I am allowed to like also understand, okay, if I am in a lower energy phase and what can I do to prepare myself when I do need to be that engaging and present. So it really allows you to feel in control and not feel like you're going crazy because you want to stay in bed all day or you want to run outside like a maniac.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So I noticed your target demographic is considerably smaller than the range of women who could benefit from a project like this because menopause doesn't hit until roughly average age 51. How did you choose your target demographic?
We just really wanted to be able to focus our marketing and focus our intention. We know a lot of female health coaches who are really excited about this, right? And there are probably around 5,000 to 10,000 coaches that kind of fit in that bucket. And so that's just where we're going to start our energy for now. But going towards the future, one of the first projects we're working on next year is actually going to be a diary for young girls, so that from the very beginning of their cycle, they are having this deep awareness. And so it's going to be huge. We can like chunk it into all of these different ways. We can make specific agendas for different types of like pockets of the world. But this is just kind of where we're starting because it's already our wheelhouse and we have a lot of contacts in this area. But really that's it, that's the reason.
And elaborating on that, can you tell us what you people that no longer have a cycle or have unmenstrual?
Yeah, women can use the lunar cycles, the moon cycles, and we have that in the agenda as well. So if you are not menstruating, or if you are pregnant or postmenopausal, there's still ways to participate and really hone into the rhythms and the cycles. So we have that included in the agenda. And we understand that not all people that menstruate are women, and not all women menstruate, and so really wanting to be inclusive, that this is for anyone who feels like they could be of use for this product for them. But really this is just our starting demographic because that's who we know.
A lot of cool things going on here. I'm curious on how did you make the connection to the PAT project?
I just reached out to them
Awesome.
on, LinkedIn. I was like, yo, what up? I'm very relentless with my outreach. So
Did you plan your outreach?
Yeah.
Then on your own cycle too, like a good time to reach?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I am very intentional about using this because I have to be a product of the work, right? Like I can't push myself too hard, even though we're like building something. And that's the thing, a lot of new entrepreneurs, like if you ever gotten burnt out by your entrepreneurial pursuits, right? Because you do too much. And so I really am trying to honor my body and this process and really be a stand for the work.
Right on.
Yeah.
First of all, I think this is a great product, and I think in the future, high school students can really benefit from this because those are the girls who are usually really insecure about what goes on and to know about. My question is how does this product work for women who are not consistent at month to month, who may differ, and how would they generate their schedule if they're not 100% sure on when they hit their different phases?
So it's kind of what Erin was talking about, but if they are irregular, then they can just start we have it in the book that they can start to follow the lunar calendar, the moon, so like the new moon and full moon, and they can just start to get curious over time. And sometimes we think we're irregular because we've got this idea that this cycle should last 28 days, but maybe you just run 35 days. And so women may not actually be irregular. So sometimes it's just the tracking in general helps gain clarity. And if you are finding that you are irregular, then they could use the moon cycles that is provided in the book. And that can just help you have a starting point. Like if you've got no idea, it's been totally out of whack, you can just say, okay, I'm going to start with the moon, and I'm just going to track, I'm going to pretend like this is my period, even if it's not, right? And then you just get into a rhythm that way. Yeah?
Did you mention how much you're going to pay, like, the pay structure for this?
We haven't completely decided. We're starting off with 6-month cycles, so it'll cover about 6 cycles. So could be a little bit longer than 6 months or a little bit less than 6 months. And it's just so much more involved than the typical agenda, so we're really trying to figure out how we're going to price it in a way that really values the product and allows us to expand, and it is also something that is affordable and accessible to people because the information is super important. So a couple of things that we've tossed around is we're creating a PDF version for the print anyway, so we may be able to still sell that if the physical copy was out of their budget. And then kind of down the road, we'll also think about doing an app, which would also be less expensive than this, but this is just where we're starting. So that would also give some variation in price. But we've seen some planners that don't offer what this is offering, and they're like $80, $90 for 6 months. So we're trying to have a strategy and a structure for the pricing, but we haven't quite landed on what that number is going to be to begin with. Yeah.
That is part of my question was pricing, but also, and this is not as dumb a question I don't think as it's going to sound, who's
coaches. And then if they want, they'll probably use it for themselves, and then they can use it for their clients. And it's going to be, because it's a little bit of a strange idea, and some women have told me, like, they're like, I hate my period, why would you even make this? Right, there's a lot of animosity right now because there's so much collective trauma around menstruation. And so it's gonna partly be a word of mouth at the beginning for people to be like, to like welcome other women in, like, it's okay, we don't have to hate this, come try this out, right? So we're gonna probably do some type of affiliate marketing with it to get people to trust themselves enough to even buy the product. So, but we're really going to focus in on coaches, and then it's going to expand from there. And we feel like this has got some legs already, so we feel like it'll probably pick up quickly. Our goal for next year is to sell 12,000 copies next year. Yeah.
So, have you considered integrating fertility tracking into this app? Because I know there are existing app, and to his point, then you can tell where you are in your cycle if it's not regular. Because I know there are apps out there where you're tracking like your waking temperature and other things to see where you are in your cycle.
Yeah, we've got a page in there about ovulation to help you figure out if you are ovulating, which can help you if you're irregular or not, because if you're not ovulating, that's a whole other ball game, right? We've reached out to a couple of apps and have not gotten a response yet, but I think it might be nice to partner with something that was already existing rather than to reinvent the wheel over and over and over again, but we'll just see. But we do have some fertility awareness in the cycle itself for people to be able to see if they are ovulating, because that really helps you see where you're at in your cycle. Yep, so some of that is in there, yeah. And if we did an app, it would probably be included, but yeah, great.
So, you know, leading into fertility, do you offer information that sometimes, oh, I wish I'd known that before pregnancy, like folic acid or whatever?
Probably not at this time. We don't want it to, we don't want it to become too complicated in this like monstrous book of things, because all the stuff we need to know probably is not going to get covered in this one book. And really kind of niching down on what this specific thing is for is to increase your business awareness. But I think it would be very likely that in the future our website would show resources, additional places that people could get involved and interested in. And again, our goal right now isn't really to help people get pregnant, so that would not be our specific point. But it's a great question, yeah.
I guess kind of going off of additional resources, so, you know, your target market, I'm not your target market.
Correct.
Because, you know, I ovulate, I don't have menstruation issues. For the men in the lives of these women, are you thinking about maybe like how do we help?
Yes.
How are we supportive? Any sort of guide?
We've kind of talked about that jokingly, like how to help your menstruating partner, but I think it would be a pretty cool like little book or guide. And I just know personally, it's been really helpful to be able to tell my spouse, like, don't be a jerk to me right now. I'm in the luteal phase, and I will absolutely take it, be more sensitive, like being able to own my own awareness, and then having a partner that's supportive. I'd be like, I got it, cool, I'll leave you alone right now, right? It's like very helpful for our relationship. And so that's one of the things we've thought about potentially with the app, is like that you could share with a trusted group of people, like, here's my cycle, right? And to be able to share that with the people in your life. Because it's funny, like on team meetings, we often will talk about like where we're at in our cycle. I'm like, Sunny, like, what's going on? Like, are you in luteal phase right now? Or she'll be like, Alex, your follicular energy, you need to like tone it down a little bit, right? Like, we start to talk about it, and it gives us a grounding foundation, which is super helpful. So we've absolutely thought about what are some of those ways we can bring really strong, awesome men into the fold, with like what ways we could help them understand that. So yeah, it's something we're tossing around for sure. Any other questions?
You mentioned in your presentation that you didn't know much of any of this before going in. You learned a lot of things, and you mentioned that you know, that should be taught in high school. Almost a million other things that should be taught instead of algebra or whatever. I use algebra every day, but anyway, you.
Fascinating.
Never.
Not a fan of algebra. But you mentioned you're doing this diary for high school girls coming forward. Do you have any ambitions to really go out and teach these sort of things so young women and young men, to Jay's
Yes.
point, know these things before I'm in my early 20s and I'm a guy and I'm like, oh dear, what's happening right now?
so absolutely. I have worked a lot with the youths. I have a lot of classroom experience. So, and I like creating content for that age group because I think it's really fun. So it's one of the things we're kind of high level talking about with the PAD project as well, as seeing how we could create workshops and go out and teach, and then train other trainers on how to teach. And like, we're just like, you know, rock it out talking about this stuff. So yes, absolutely. It's something that we hope to, I don't know what that would look like, what kind of container would be created, but I would love to be on a team that would create that content to go and be adopted by public schools. Yes, absolutely.
Could you tell us about the tiers of Kickstarter?
Yeah, so we've got lots of different really cool rewards that you can get when you are a member of when you back the Kickstarter. We've got a very cool sticker, which you can get for $10. You can get the full PDF version of the book. You can also get a hard copy. We have a pre-order that's up on there for that. And then we've even got some different packages that really include some coaching around your cycle. So my personal health coaching business has really transformed into period empowerment for female entrepreneurs. And so there are some coaching packages that are available on there. We've got one that we would really love, so if anyone on Facebook world is seeing this, we've got one package for $6,000 that we would come anywhere in the United States to do a workshop for a business. And it would include agendas for your entire team, as well as coming in and doing a workshop. So this would be more of a corporation. So that's kind of like our moonshoot. We're holding out for that in the last week that some company will come be an early adopter, because we really know that this would change workforce dynamics immensely, and it would just be a really cool opportunity. So those are some of the different levels of support that you could offer during the Kickstarter.
However, it's not Kickstarter for your ad. What is the name of the website you're using?
Kickstarter.
It is Kickstarter?
Yeah.
I thought it was something else.
Nope, Kickstarter.
Okay, good.
We've got
And this is the Kickstarter. We have a Patreon, but that's something else. So yeah, this is the link for the Kickstarter.
Okay, sorry.
No worries. And I have cards that people can give, and they don't have the Kickstarter on it, but they have our Facebook, which has a billion links to the Kickstarter.
How many days are left?
7 days left, and we are at 80%, guys. So final push. That, you know, any support would be awesome. Any other questions?
So if there are no other questions, I'll ask our traditional final question. How do we in the community support you?
Back the Kickstarter. That would be amazing. And then again, like, we're gonna have to figure out how to do distribution. It's not something I know how to do yet. I will figure it out. And also anyone who has any experience with affiliate marketing, like figuring out how we can set up that system, those are kind of the next steps. So that is how you could support the Kickstarter.
Are you gonna stick around a little bit after?
I will. I will be here to talk about any of your period questions later, and I've got some cards if anyone is curious about them.